All right, y'all. Today we're looking at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see if it's local search or if it's city search has BSS. Also see if it's hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. Nice. All right, so we're out here in the GBC universe again, where we bring declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video on the profile, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here, in white, high on the left, low on the right. And if a boudoir photographer is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, from high intent to low or no intent. At least bringing them in awareness, even if they're low or no intent, awareness that we exist. And if we have a boudoir photographer business that's falling, they're probably missing chunks somewhere here on the intent spectrum. So here we talk about BSS. We're way over on the left side. Highest intent peeps. This is social search and Google search. Search on social networks for boudoir photo shoot in my city. See on Google search the highest intent keyword searches. And over on the right, that's our other sister brand, different profiles. Boudoir FB ad doctor. So we're talking about BLCS. Talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there, niche pain. And right now, we currently only deal with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. And, that side on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps, interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They have no intent for boudoir right now. Next, moving on, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's what it is. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If you've got 0 slots, we're basically dead. Because we have, we've already talked about approximately 80% of Google searches never reach page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80% of searches, aka the bulk of the market, is page 1 only. So if we're on page 2, we're basically dead. Page 1, if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's still not enough. If there's there's 10 organic slots. There's if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone else got 1 slot, then a buyer's just, clicking down all of page 1, basically never going to go to page 2. Open up everyone's website, going to compare, contrast, price shop all these boudoir photographers. And, as a result, we're still basically invisible because we're being price shopped so much. So we know that 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, but it's not normal. Dude, it's not normal to have those few slots on page 1 when Google actually wants to give us way more to those that want to take them. So 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone understands, but also newly, the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody understands yet. So market saturation, that seems like every week someone get a new iPhone, we see them throwing out their Google My Business profile, their website. Now they say they do boudoir, they're a boudoir photographer. Or they get a new camera, they're posting in the mom groups. They also do boudoir photo shoots now. So that's market saturation. Also, COVID, tons of new peeps came into the marketplace because nobody could work. People lost their jobs. But again, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so bringing in a ton more peeps to become boudoir photographers. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is a big one. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. This is where everyone, well, if everyone believes it, kind of automatically, implicitly, this is where, they're kind of like, everyone gets either 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And so, I had, a slot number 8 on Google. The boudoir photographer ranked above me. I got kicked down to slot 10. And, it is what it is because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on Google. And there's basically nothing I can do about it. This is 100% incorrect. Google actually will give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who actually want the page 1 slots. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search in 10 days. So I know Google gives these slots out to the people that want to take them. And as a result, if people believe this page 1 equality is true, then they never kind of break out of the box and look for solutions. And, well, there were no real good solutions before it. But now we got one, which you'll see that in two pictures from here. So we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, with boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So micro universe stick and shape, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And how do we know that? Because we invented it. And so it works exactly as it says. S cubed methodology, social search saturation. We saturate social search with our highest intent, highest demand keywords for highest intent buyers, what they would be searching on Google. To saturate social search, so we show up for all those. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains, all the small streams and rivers, then flow into the large Amazon River. These then eventually all flow into Google, page one Google search. But the initial upstream is ranking high, page one social search across all the four major social networks. Now, S-cubed methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully, for boudoir photographers, it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Literally the only thing. And as a result, we, basically as a result, that's the only thing that gets us results relatively quickly. Because the only other thing I've seen actually successfully outcompete is market saturation is having a brand. But dude, that takes like 5 years minimum, more like 10 years. So because AI is coming, taking people's jobs, we ain't got 5 or 10 years anymore. We got to move ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. And S-cubed methodology is that vehicle. So, imagine we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Omaha, Nebraska. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're boudoir photographers. So everyone's ranking there. And as a result, we are competing with all these boudoir photographers for page one. So we say, you know what? Screw this. The only chance we got of competing here is cranking S-cubed methodology up to the max. And luckily, I was working with no one else in Omaha, so you could actually hire me. So we crank it up to the max, and let's say we are successfully, we're ranking the first 300 slots, page one of, search in all these social networks. Well, not even page one, dude. That's like a lot more pages than page one, but the first 300 slots, we're taking them up. And as a result, we are, there's a small rivers that flow into page one in Google. So we're taking the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page. So we're literally taking the first 30 pages, all the organic slots from them. And so anytime anyone in our city search for the boudoir photographer with those high intent keywords, they are basically anywhere they look. They're basically only finding us. Now, for organic search, they could go to page 31 to essentially start finding our competitors. But dude, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 search only. So who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically nobody. So as a result, even though there are a million 999,999 other boudoir photographers and us competing against us, since we captured social search and Google search, the highest intent keywords are basically the only one that's being found. So whose business is the only one growing as a result? Our business. Out of all million boudoir photographers. So that's what we mean what I mean when I say this is the only thing I've discovered other than brand that can successfully compete against market saturation. Compete against and still grow the business. Now, once we treat BSS with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And boom, we get an instant bonus benefit, an initial benefit, which is for every new slot we acquire on page one, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this is awesome because, hey, we're getting more slots on page one. We get, more of, out of 10 attention because there's 10 slots, increasing our attention. But actually, we're decreasing the number of boudoir photographers we're competing against because we're kicking a new one off every time we rank another, we get another slot on there. That's an initial benefit initially right off the bat using S-cubed methodology. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. BSV, we have a GBC minimum here, recommended minimum of reaching 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google search, because basically everyone else will have one slot. So if Google's recommended us 3 times, well, buyers going to be like, well, what the hell? Why is Google recommend this person? They must be good. They may even click to us, only us, and not even look at the other options on page one. But in addition, there's a tiny chance another boudoir photographer has 2 slots on page one. So if we got 3 slots, we're out competing everyone that has 0, 1, or 2 slots on page one of Google search. Now we also know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, with Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Now we use S-cubed methodology. We finally have a solution. Thank the universe. Page one visibility. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. Now my results. So myself, purely using S-cubed methodology, I'm going to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. And come down to organic. Organic results, we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is also me. And I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1. And I got up to 9 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1, in only 10 days. So these are my own results utilizing S-cubed methodology. So moving on to our main event here, we're going to check this Boudoir photography business, see if it's got BSS for local and city search, even if it's in its GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 page one slots. So let's go. All right, I'm going to Virginia Beach. All right, that's fine. So let's check this out. Virginia Beach. Boom, we got one. And boom, we got two. Okay. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 for local. So we do not have BSS, but we did not hit the GBC recommend minimum of 3 out of 10 slots. Page 1 on Google. All right, now we're going to go to our city search, Norfolk, Virginia. All right, so let's check this out. So let's see. See if we got any here. No fire, so we're at 0 out of 10. And yeah, city's always harder to rank for than local. So we're at 2 out of 10. Page 1, Google for local. So we don't have BSS for local, we do have BSS for city, but for both of them, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for either of them. So if you are a disappearing Boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent Boudoir buyer keywords, and you're seen in, you had BSS for at least one of them, or you did not hit the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for at least one of them, those high intent keyword searches. And you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You kind of broken through that mental barrier and understand, wow, Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want. And you have, you've decided you need the solids. You're saying S-cubed methodology is the only solution for this. You like the initial benefits, which is, one slot, more slots, page 1 Google search. You like the other initial benefit, kicking your competing Boudoir photographers off page 1, relegating them page 2 or deeper, making them invisible. You actually like that one the best. And you understand market saturation, yeah, more peeps, new gear over time, more Boudoir photographers over time, blah, blah, blah. And you're looking ahead and you're saying, wow, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. And last time a lot of people lost their jobs, COVID, massive market saturation occurred. So you're like, uh-oh, even more market saturation is going to occur this time because this is actually going to be permanent job losses as AI is taking more and more people's jobs as AI gets more and more powerful. So you're like, all right, there's going to be more and more big flood of Boudoir photographers into my area competing. So you're actually realizing you actually have to fortify your position on page 1, not just get these slots, but actually fortify your position so much where you have so many backup links that Google wants to rank for you on page 1, but you've already taken up too many slots where Google puts those links, page 2, 3, and 4, and you're kind of filling up those positions where Google wants to rank those on page 1, but you already got too many slots. You've already basically taken all of them up. And so you want to fill up kind of your backlog of links to fortify your position, kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city is, below sea level. fortify your position so basically no other current competing boudoir photographer can ever rank page one Google search, and also so that basically no other new boudoir photographer coming in to the marketplace because they lost their job to AI can ever rank page one Google search either. And you're seeing for that benefit to do that fortification, SQ methodology is the only solution out there that enables that benefit with the massive number of links that it can produce. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you understand that you need these things in order to be on your path to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. You also like the future benefits of SQ methodology. Building the brand approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're doing so much more volume across so many more surfaces than anyone else in your area. And you're actually you also understand doing SQ methodology is building up all these invisible thematic keyword columns, a cluster of keywords that we're plugging into your brand, kind of out there in the internet, invisible cyberspace. Your brand name, your website, your business name, your social handle names, kind of connecting to all those. And this feeds into the AI, backend AI mindshare with those keywords. And as a result, every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we are increasing the probability that AI recommends us in search positions such as this, AI overview, most premium search placement here. It's organic. Nobody can pay for this. And also increased probability of showing up in AI search apps, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. And these AI search apps increasing, dude, every single day in usage. Google standard search slowly declining every single day in usage. And the last time I did search for boudoir photographers with AI search in a city, it was a ChatGPT. They gave me 3. I actually then went and did a manual search, Google and Facebook. Dude, I found like 60. So we need to get these AI overview slots and chat AI chat app recommendation slots. One of these 3 as fast as possible, because this is where all the attention's going. So you're seeing SQ methodology as the only solution out there that can enable all this in a relatively quick time frame. And you also understand that since I'm only working with one boudoir photographer per city as my current plan, that you can actually get all these benefits, build up a massive gap between your competitors, and actually prevent your competitors from using this technology. And for that reason, you've decided to become be a number one, first mover in your city for this technology. And that's because you understand the converse, where if one of your boudoir photographer competitors signs on with me first, they're getting all these extra page one links, pushing you off page 2, 3, 4 deeper, fortifying it themselves page one. So you'll basically never have a shot to ever even rank page one Google search. Building up the backend AI keyword mindshare, massive gap between you and them, kind of that mindshare momentum. And in order for you to compete, you would actually have to actually rederive SQ methodology. You would also have to increase, basically, well, you'd have to equal our output, but all that would every single day, but all I would do is, maintain the gap me and your competitor currently have ahead of you. So you'd have to actually outwork us 2 to 3x every single day, but you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy, the technology correctly in the first place. And so as a result, you you'd have to you wouldn't even be confident to put in the time. And if you did, you'd be like, man, who's got 80 hours to do all this work? So as a result, hearing all this, like, yeah, screw that. I ain't doing all that. You decide to be the first mover. Hit us up first, be the first one in your city to utilize this new technology. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed to new patients for new patient intake, but once we open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.